Hello, how are you guys today? All right, so today we are going to make a Christmas tree. But first we are going to read The Biggest Christmas Tree Ever. Right. So it says, once there were two mice who fell in love with the same tree at Christmas time, but you had to see it to believe it. Everyone in Mouseville loved Christmas trees. Every Christmas families all over town put up the biggest, most beautiful tree they could find. But first came Thanksgiving. The day before the celebration, Clayton the mouse took a walk around Mouseville. He knew he should be thinking about giving thanks, but the chill in the air reminded him of Christmas. "You know what?" he said out loud. "This year I'm going to find the biggest Christmas tree ever." Not far away, Clayton's friend Desmond, the field mouse, said exactly the same thing. That night, Clayton helped his mom and dad and his brother Andy and his sister Trudy make a special cheese casserole and nut pie for Thanksgiving dinner. Over at Desmond's house, Desmond and his brother Morris helped Uncle Vernon fix a big pot of vegetable stew and a cheesecake. Everyone ate much too much. After dinner, Clayton's grandma and grandpa sat in the living room, holding their tummies and grumbling. Over at Desmond's, the cousins from across the road stretched out on Uncle Vernon's sofa and took a nap. The following morning, Clayton woke up early. He wanted to be the first at Clara's Christmas tree farm at the edge of town. That way, he could have his pick of the biggest tree. Over at Desmond's house, Desmond tumbled out of bed with the same thought. Clayton hurried over to Clara's, but it was hard to go very fast. He was still too full of Thanksgiving dinner. By the time he had reached Christmas Tree Farm, he was out of breath. He looked around. No one else was there. Moments later, Desmond arrived. He, too, was full of Thanksgiving dinner. He, too, found it hard to hurry. He took a deep breath and stumbled inside. Clayton wobbled down the rows of trees. Here was a nice one, but it was much too small. There was another, but it was squat and had a crooked top. Over there was a third, but it was average height and had big gaps between the branches. Struggling down another row, Desmond was having the same problem. Clayton leaned against the tree. It was scrawny and not very tall. "I'll never find the tree I want," he said. "I better go home." And not far away, squatting at another tree, Desmond said, "I'll never find a tree I want. I better go home." When Clayton reached his house, it was only the middle of the morning, but he was still full, and he said he was tired. He fell back into bed. When Desmond reached his house, he too went back to bed. Clayton woke up for lunch and spoke to his dad. Dad said, "Go out this afternoon, walk to the far edge of the Christmas tree farm. The biggest trees are there." When Desmond woke up for lunch, Uncle Vernon said the same thing. That afternoon, Clayton went out again at the very same time. Desmond did too. Clayton walked to the far edge of the Christmas tree farm. He looked at one big tree after another, but none of them looked like the biggest Christmas tree ever. Starting to lose hope, Clayton peered around a very thick trunk. Desmond peered around that same thick trunk. They bumped heads and fell down. "I I bet you're looking for the biggest Christmas tree ever, said Clayton. I bet you're looking for the biggest tree ever, said Desmond. Why don't we find it together, said Clayton. No one said we couldn't, said Desmond. They set out through the rows of trees. They looked and looked until it was almost dark. Just as they were ready to give up, there it was, a Christmas tree so big and so tall it reached the sky. How will we cut it down? Clayton asked. It's much too big for the two of us. Where will we put it? Desmond added. It won't fit in your house or mine. Clayton and Desmond smiled. Our families will help us, they said together. And that is what happened. Clayton's dad and Uncle Vernon came out with their axes, and with the help of Clayton and Desmond, they chopped down the giant tree. Both families called on friends and relations together. They loaded the tree onto 100 red wagons and pulled it to Clayton's front yard. There, they decorated it with the most wondrous ornaments and colored lights. And on Christmas Eve, with all of Mouseville celebrating around it, the biggest Christmas tree ever lit up the entire hillside. Clayton and Desmond shared a high five. We did it, said Clayton. All of us together, said Desmond. And all right, so we are going to make a Christmas tree. So you have your little green Christmas tree right here. So you can cut it out first, and then you have tissue paper, green tissue paper. Hopefully you have it in your bag. If not, we can get you some, or you can see if you have some at your house. But to glue the tissue paper down, you have two options. You can either wrinkle it up in a ball and then glue it down. You'll want to put like a glue stick and glue it down like that. I only have a glue bottle, or I only have a glue stick, so I'm going to do that. You can do glue stick or bottle, but you can wrinkle it up in a ball like I said and push it down and do that kind of all over your tree. Or if you want, you have the end of a pencil and you can wrap the tissue paper around the end of the pencil and wrap it like this. And again, you'll put glue where you want it, and you'll just push it down on that paper, and it's going to stick out like that. So again, your options, you can just wrinkle it up or just push it on the end of the pencil, either one. So you're going to do a bunch of green to fill in your tree, and then you can pick different colors of tissue paper for the ornaments. And then a yellow one for the top of the star, okay? So once you have it all done, then it's going to hopefully look like this. You can make this flat. This is another student's if you want for the star, or you can crinkle it up. And then they put little different colors around the tree for ornaments, okay? So I hope you have fun making your Christmas tree, and I will see you later. Bye.